Good morning again. So, a horrifying event took place on May 25th. That was a day that Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin arrested 46-year-old African-American George Floyd. A video surfaced that showed the officer kneeling on Mr. Floyd's neck for almost 9 minutes. As we know, Mr. Floyd died. Officer Chauvin, 3 others involved in the arrest and death were fired. All of them are now facing charges. Any sane person who watched the video was horrified and disgusted by it, including, I'm sure, every police officer in our city. As we know, Mr. Floyd's death sparked protests in 75 US cities and around the world, including here. Sadly, it also sparked civil unrest, riots, looting, and the deaths of innocent people. Police officers in the United States were among the victims, and that too is horrific. Let me state the obvious, but it needs to be stated. Not one member of the Edmonton Police Service was involved in the senseless death of Mr. Floyd. I'm absolutely sure that not one EPS officer is anything but disgusted by it. Yet, that terrible event has stoked an unspeakable anger toward law enforcement in the United States, here and around the world. It's taken over the headlines amid the most serious worldwide health pandemic in 100 years. There are cries to defund the police, dismantle the police. Scores of police officers who had nothing to do with the death of Mr. Floyd have been attacked and assaulted amid a mob mentality. Right-minded people find that despicable. I certainly do. In the midst of this worldwide anger, City Council has called this public hearing to take a hard look at policing here in Edmonton. There's also a suggestion to give the police $16.3 million less in 2021 than previously approved. There's also a suggestion that that money should be allotted to social programs. As you know, I'm a former city councillor and member of parliament for Edmonton Griesbach. I've got a keen interest in this subject. My riding is one of the poorest in Alberta, if not the poorest, according to household incomes. I represent many impoverished and marginalized communities. Like every city councillor here today, I want the very best for my constituents, including the best policing and the best social services. And we're lucky in my riding to have both. We've got beat cops who genuinely care about their communities and about building relationships. We've got scores of not-for-profits either located right in our riding or providing amazing service to people in it. There's Reach Edmonton, Assist Community Services, Catholic Social Services, Homeward Trust, Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society, CASA Foundation. There are a lot more, but I'll run out of my time naming them all. The bottom line is my constituents are fortunate to have good service from both the EPS and many social agencies. I know the EPS often works in tandem with many of those agencies. I believe one of the main duties of a politician is to listen to the people they represent. I make a point to do that by sending out regular surveys to each and every home in my riding. As well, I reach out regularly on social media. The policing issue has been a hot topic, but I will say that 75% of the people I've heard from online, on the phone, or via email are opposed to any cuts to the police budget. In fact, many people I've heard say they want increases to the police budget and more police officers in their communities. I'd be willing to bet many city councillors might have the same experience if you disregard the complaint letters that are form letters as part of an orchestrated campaign. These are highly emotionally charged times. People are rightfully angry over the horrible death of Mr. Floyd. Many people are angry at all police and people in authority. So I believe this is not the time to be embarking on drastic changes to the way we do policing in the city of Edmonton. It's almost 30 years now to the day that an EPS officer was shot and killed when he responded to a bank robbery just north of the city's downtown. I remember it well because I covered it as a journalist. His name was Ezio Ferrone. He was just 33 years old when he was killed June 25th, 1990. Both of the men involved in his murder were sent to prison. Today there's a park named for Ezio and a statue in his memory. Imagine if his murder had just happened a few weeks ago. Would we be having a discussion about cutting police budgets? I think not, and nor would it be the appropriate time to be discussing the matter. I'd suggest it's only appropriate we all take a deep breath. First, let's get over the anger we feel about Mr. Floyd's death. Let's talk about this very serious issues of policing when everyone has had time to heal over that death. We need to pause. We owe that to our citizens, and we owe that to our police officers.
Thank you for adhering to the 5-minute limit.